This is another episode of the Flight Ringers podcast. I'm David King. That's Dan Spottswood.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
We are professional cartoonists, and we are Legion of Superheroes experts. Yeah. All right, let's try and talk about the comic book.
All right.
Legion Superheroes number 9.
Chapter 9 of the 5 Years Later saga.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have too much to talk about on this one, do you?
A little bit here and there. This one came out on May 15th of 1990. We, of course, have Giffen and Tom and Mary Bierbaum writing. We have a guest artist this issue. It's Paris Cullins, who at this time was doing New Gods, I think with Jim Starlin, maybe.
I think Mark Evanier wrote that series.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think maybe Starlin started it and he took over or something like that. Starlin played some role in that. Maybe I'm thinking of Cosmic Odyssey.
Yeah.
It kind of launched that.
Starlin definitely did Cosmic Odyssey. And I think I got issue 1 of New Gods and it was Evanier. Or maybe I'm thinking of Forever People. Maybe I'm thinking of Forever People, which was also by Cullins, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was a mini series.
Also missing from this issue, like Giffen is not drawing most of it, just the framing. Al Gordon isn't here this month.
Yeah, I got a month off.
We have Bob Lewis.
I recognize his name. He did some other Giffen inking. I racked my brain. I couldn't think of it. I should have looked it up.
The Giffen stuff, I don't know that it looks that different. Maybe you noticed the difference, but
it looked a little different to me here and there. And I didn't really like the ink job over the Paris Cullins stuff.
That's what I was going to say. I've seen work by him that I've liked, and I didn't feel like this didn't seem like the same guy to me.
Yeah, it looks really kind of generic. I mean, maybe the whole thing was just a rush job.
Yeah.
Like this character, I think they only created her like 3 issues ago. I don't know. They didn't have the advanced lead time or something that maybe most other issues have.
Right. So we're opening up with Roxas, who is...
Oh, wait, I have one comment about the cover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, tell me the cover. The best part of it, maybe.
I don't like it, but...
What?
I'm wondering about this thing where it looks like she put her jacket on over top of her Supergirl cape, and it's sticking out under the bottom edge of her jacket or something.
Really? It looks to me like she's holding a blanket across her butt.
Yeah.
Like it isn't even attached to her shoulders.
Either way, what the hell is she doing? Well,
I wonder, does she have a cape yet? Like it kind of turns into a cape, but I don't know if it was initially meant to be a cape. Like at first it was just so you didn't see who she was. You remember she throws it off and she flies off without it.
Yeah, I thought it was a cape. And yeah, I don't know why she throws it off.
Well, right. Like she wasn't fighting in it. It was just something to like keep her warm or disguised. Do you think maybe she's throwing it off here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I thought it was her superhero cape. Mm-hmm. But she put on a jacket over top because it's extra cold out there in space. You're saying that she was wearing the cape over her jacket and the other appearance because it was cold out there in space.
Right. I think mainly it was so she could be a mysterious figure who drops her cloak and reveals herself.
Either way, weird.
I don't know. I think it's a pretty good cover, right? Once you point out the weirdness of the cape, how it's connected to her ass instead of her shoulders, that is a little weird. I like the kind of Kirby crackle. What else don't you like? You're about to say you hate the Kirby crackle.
I feel like they went overboard on the Kirby dots. And I don't like the lettering at the bottom where it says Laurel's story. You barely notice it. It's kind of the wrong color, almost.
Yeah. I mean, it looks nice graphic design-wise, but it would make more sense if the Laurel was bigger and the story was smaller.
Right.
Because the Laurel's so small, the letters are so thin, they're kind of hard to read on top of the Kirby crackle.
Yeah, and it's in cursive,
right?
Which is notoriously difficult to read.
Right.
I mean, not for me. I can read cursive. I'm an adult human.
Young adults.
I do think that I think people under 30 can't read cursive. Maybe.
I think it's shorthand in comics for effeminateness, right? Like
yeah.
Cursive writing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they picked it.
And then one final thing, I noticed that there's a trademark thing on Laurel, as if seems like a strange trademark to take out. Like you paid money, I guess, to say that we have a superhero at DC named Laurel.
Weird.
And I don't know if it said Mon-El's story, is that going to have a little trademark notice thing on it too? I don't know.
Or did they cut the some of the letters out towards the end and paste them on top, and it just had the TM on it.
Maybe so. That's a funny idea. But anyway,
I like Keith Giffen a lot anyway, but a lot of his covers in this series are very static and they're very monochromatic. And this one is not, it's bright and dynamic. It's more exciting than most of his covers. That's all I'm saying. So the basic premise that we've been going through, if you cut out some of the complications that came along, is the Legion 5 years later, they're middle-aged or nearly middle-aged. The government has collapsed. The Dominators are secretly running everything. Everything is shit. The Legionnaires are getting back together, partially because of the death of Block, which they probably should have just done in the first issue because it makes a better reason for them to get together. It's like they worked out a good reason for the team to assemble like 1 or 2 issues late.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
They sort of got together within issues 1 and 2, some of them already, but then this is the big rallying cry that's pulling everyone together to avenge Block. So it probably would have made more sense if it started with the death of Block. But
yeah, now that you put it that way, like even Roxas, when he's talking about it here, he explains that like his plan to kill them all is like, oh, when they all show up for Block's funeral, he'll just blow them up. And like, yeah, if he had set that in motion in issue 1 somehow, pretty logical.
For certain.
On the other hand, like when we talked about issues 1 and 2, we were like, this should have been 1 comic book.
Right.
And so if you look at it like that, like the death of Block happened like in the 2nd issue, in a way. So maybe that is early enough. I don't know.
Well, the only problem I see with that is Chameleon Boy's deciding it's time and going to recruit Cosmic Boy predates that. But it makes me wonder if that was all part of 1 script, like maybe they wanted a double-sized issue or something.
Yeah, for issue 1 and 2. Yeah.
And then maybe that event would have happened after his death.
Oh, huh.
You know, like it's the catalyst that makes him decide this is the time to start getting the gang back together.
I'm trying to remember what Chameleon Boy's motivation was in issue 1 or 2. Just like he felt like he was bored not being a Legionnaire. Is that really the main?
There's nothing that really galvanizes him to do it. It sounds like it's something that's been on his to-do list for a while, and he feels like now's a good time. Everything's the company's in good shape.
Yeah, because he's watching TV, right? And he's seeing how awful the universe is now, and he's like, I can fix this with all my riches.
Sprinkle money all over it.
Yeah, I guess. The death of Block. I don't know. I don't know if I totally agree with you. I'm kind of 2 minds of it now that you mention it. Like the death of Block would have been a much more dramatic reason or incitation of them getting back together. But then, like, if you're going to start the comic 5 years later and have all these upheavals to show him watching TV and to say all these upheavals are real bad, we should bring back the Legion of Superheroes. That kind of works for, to have that exposition.
Right.
So, yeah.
Fair enough. Anyway, so we have Roxas. He's trying to spring a trap. He wants to destroy the Legion. And because this is a fill-in issue, he's looking at old tapes of the different team members to learn their weaknesses.
Yeah, kind of like he's looking at like the hollow tapes from like the Adventure Comics days, I guess, is kind of the idea here.
Yeah.
It would be like if I wanted to, I don't know, assassinate the baseball player. I'm going to go get the Bo Jackson rookie card and look at the back of it or something,
Right. And it's another example.
Or like, let's say that I wanted to assassinate Sean Cassidy. I'm going to go get that issue of Dynamite magazine that lists all his weaknesses.
Right.
And his weaknesses are like hamburgers and girls and shit like that.
And of course, because VHSs were big in the 90s, he has like a future version of a VHS. It's physical media. It's
Japanese.
Oh, it is?
Well, it looks like, I don't know if it's like a mix of like Interlac, Japanese, and then whatever this planet's supposed to be, Cygnus 4 E's. But the design wise, it kind of looks like a Japanese, like a comic book, a manga or something.
They do a kind of clever thing here. They've been building this guy up as such a scary, dark figure, like very Joker and the Killing Joke kind of Alan Moore-ish kind of scary character. And they make it look like he's going to kill this little boy, but then it turns out No,
I thought that was kind of pathetic. Like,
Really? I thought that was I think it would have felt too cliche if he just killed the little
This is another thing I'm of two minds about. Like the whole time I'm reading this, the whole time it took me to read page 2, I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna kill this little kid,
right?
And I'm like, when's it gonna happen? What's he gonna do? I'm kind of actually like literally like expecting it to really happen in the comic, you know? And then instead it's something
Giffen's just fucking with you.
It's a little too cutesy when he doesn't do it, I think. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it seems very Giffen to me.
I think by the time I came to terms with the fact that he was going to kill this kid, they turned it back on me and he didn't kill the kid. And I was like, well, shit.
You were disappointed, huh?
Yeah. Like I weighed it in my brain, like, should he kill the little kid or should he not kill the little kid? Like if he doesn't kill the little kid, like it kind of undermines what an awful, scary bad guy this is. If he does kill the kid, well, that's fucked up. He shouldn't be killing little kids, and that's a crazy thing to put in this comic book. But then I had decided that I know Keith Giffen. He's going to have his evil, awful guy kill whoever he wants. But I was wrong.
I feel like the character has been so over the top up until now. Like it would have just, I don't think it would have served anything. I think it's more effective this way. Because this guy seems to have like multiple personality or something. Like you don't know what to expect from him. So like he might actually spare your life or he might dismember you. You just don't know.
So that's actually his whole thing, is he's unpredictable, not that he's an awful murderer.
Right. He's that too.
And I guess the cutesy part of him not killing the little kid.
I didn't think it was cutesy. Whatever. They don't show him going, you get to live, young lad. Here's a pence. Here's a sixpence. Go buy the biggest turkey.
Well, no, what they do is they say, oh, you paid him. That's bad. You paid him instead of killing him.
Right.
I thought that was kind of silly and corny.
Okay.
But I feel like doing that kind of adds...
there's a little levity too.
Right. It plays into this whole issue, which is this flashback to the days of Adventure Comics stories, and kind of in a lighter style than the other issues. So it's part of it works as part of that, you know.
You have the right to be wrong about things.
Like I might have the right to be wrong, but you are obligated to be wrong on a lot of things.
It's my
you
role.
Can't help it.
That's where I fit in the dynamic. I'm here to like the straight man, but I'm the wrong man.
Oh,
just so you can showcase your expertise.
We're probably equally wrong on everything.
So this is an opportunity for the book to tell us who Laurel is, who's clearly a stand-in for Supergirl that they can't use anymore because of Crisis and the Superman offices. So I guess the idea with this was Bierbaum wanted to get it as close to Silver Age as possible. That's what he wanted Cullins to do. And he wanted the editor to do photocopies of the two issues that this is sort of a mashup of, which are Supergirl's first two appearances with the Legion. The first time when she tried out, but ended up ineligible because she was, I think, like red kryptonite made her too old, so she couldn't join. But within that one, she pulls these miraculous feats to try to impress them. She does in this. And the second one is where she met Brainiac 5. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the one where she gets the treasures. She burrows into the earth in both of them.
Oh, I think she must get both?
She must get the treasure in the second one. I was just reading through them tonight.
Well, like in this version of the story, in the process of digging, she's exposed to lead. In the original one, I think it was red kryptonite that made her too old to join the team.
Right, yeah. And that was funny. It was like, she even makes a comment. She's like, I'm too old. It's a good thing my costume will grow with me, because she's like, they show her standing next to Saturn Girl, and she's like a head taller than Saturn Girl, and like just like a woman, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, she's too old now, which is, they're dumb, I guess. I guess they think that they know that the way that red kryptonite works is that it may never wear off, and she may be an adult for good.
They're ageist.
Yeah.
Like you're grown up. You're a narc. So the original intention was for it to look more like the Kurt Swan stuff, and he wanted the editors to photocopy those issues and give them to the artist. But Giffen did not like this idea. Giffen thought, like, that's too corny. Today's audience will not like that. He wants to sort of bury the silliness of the Silver Age. And they got in a fight over it. I guess Bierbaum says on his blog it's the only time they kind of got into a shouting match or had words. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. It's funny.
That is funny. And it's kind of wrong-headed, I think. I mean, they used Kurt Swan on the cover of the previous issue.
That's true. Maybe he put up with that much, and then he's like, I don't want this to be like a retro 50s, 60s book.
I mean, it still kind of looks that way. Or, well, I don't know. Do you think the Cullins art has kind of a throwback look whatsoever? It doesn't look like it fits in with the Giffen stuff at all, you know? It's not like a continuation of the Giffen stuff.
Definitely not. But I don't know. It doesn't really seem very Silver Agey to me either.
Yeah, it just seems like more like a...
bad fill-in.
Yeah, it's a fill-in. The writing is not that great, in my opinion, and it all looks kind of rushed.
Yeah.
I don't know. He does some kind of like anime looking stuff, you know, like weird emoting and stuff. I guess I wouldn't want him necessarily to be tracing Adventure Comics panels, right. But to do a whole flashback comic of story that ostensibly takes place alongside all those old 60s comics that they're always talking about.
Well, like in place of them.
Right.
So you would think you'd want some visual rhyming, maybe not like a verbatim panel for panel thing, but
I guess what they eventually did with like using Chris Sprouse for like Legionnaires type of stuff makes a little more sense. Or work. I guess he's just an artist who I guess works a little better maybe than the Paris Cullins artwork.
Could be. So anyways, they have sort of a stand-in for Supergirl's Argo City here, only it's with Daxamites. There's this strange, have you heard of this? Like they're all using anti-lead serum here. And that seems like a major continuity change, right? Because that's why Mon-El was stuck in the Phantom Zone for so long, right?
Well, no. What I've come to learn is that the reason Mon-El was stuck in the Phantom Zone is that he already had lead poisoning and they couldn't cure it. So that's why he had to be in there.
This is like a preventative thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so somewhere along the lines, Saturn Girl or Brainiac 5 or whatever probably made up the anti-lead serum, and they could use that and not get lead poisoning. But Mon-El's case, he got lead poisoning, and they had to... But they didn't have a permanent solution, which in this issue, Brainiac 5 comes up with it like that, whereas that did take 1,000 years in the previous continuity.
It's kind of funny looking back at how much drama they made of him having a non-permanent solution to his ailment when, you know, we all have to take antidepressants or cholesterol medicine or whatever every day.
Yeah.
Or it won't work. Seems consistent with the pharmaceutical industry or just medicine in general.
Yeah, when you're talking to a kid audience, maybe they don't know that old age shit. There's not too many of them who are on regular medication.
Right. There's in fact very, very, very few, if any, like you take one pill and you're done.
Yeah, but when you're 9, like, and somebody's like, wouldn't it stink if to even survive you have to take a drug every day?
Every day before bed with water. Make sure you have food in your stomach.
Or you'll die. Yeah. This origin thing, it really mirrors the Supergirl thing, only it's all set in the 30th century instead of in the past. I mean, in the past of like Superman's past almost, right?
That's
like
right.
In the days of Supergirl, this stuff with Argo City being a satellite or outpost of Krypton. Yeah, that was before Krypton blew up. That was before when Superboy was a twinkle in Jor-El's eye, right?
Yeah, I think that even is a revision. At some point, I'm assuming the original version. I don't remember for sure, but I think like it was just a chunk of Krypton from the explosion that survived.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds
at some point
logical.
They're like, well, this is a little corny, so they turned it into an outpost.
It sounds kind of far-fetched, huh?
Another big change, I don't think this is in any of the versions of Supergirl there. They get attacked by I'm going to call them Kuns. Is that what
I say Kundas.
The Kundas. Here's another big change that Bierbaum made. We have kind of the head of the Kuns here, Coons, Zarian. And this is the same fella who killed Lightning Lad. back in the Silver Age. But he was not a cunt back then. So it's a retcon. Wasn't? It is a retcon. But he died a cunt. Died like a cunt.
Once a cunt, always a cunt.
Yeah. So in this, though, she manages to fend off the invasion all by herself as a little girl after her parents are killed. So she's immediately like a child hero and also like public enemy number one from the coons. So she has to go into witness protection.
She kills a fuckload of them, right?
Right.
Like they say some survive, but this page where she pulls the trigger on them makes it seem like, oh, I'm going to eliminate all this space fleet of these coons.
Yep. Yeah, pretty brutal.
Yeah. She was like, my mom told me to do this. Mm-hmm. Kill. My mother taught me to kill. And she didn't hesitate. She went in that other room, did the thing where she takes over control of the space station with all its weaponry and blows the fuck out of Zarian the Conqueror.
Right. Just like playing video games.
Yeah. But she does say she cried the whole ceremony when she got her medal. Mm-hmm. But not for the deaths that she caused, for the fact that she doesn't have parents anymore.
Right. We then get a bonus appearance by Ultro Gand.
Yeah, they can't leave this guy alone, huh?
Being his usual coward self.
Yeah, I guess I was about to say that he seems like he's kind of he seems like a take charge type of dude at first, but he stutters and stammers. Mm-hmm. Like he's like fucking George Bailey here, with all the uhs and ums in his word balloons. Like, take it down a notch, Tom and Mary.
You take that shit back. George Bailey was a badass.
Okay. Just his delivery is unsure.
That would be funny. Now I'm picturing Jimmy Stewart playing him.
As Mon-El.
As Eltro. I guess did they look alike? I don't know. They're kind of drawn alike. But I'm trying to remember. Did he look enough like him to stand in for him?
Yeah, he takes his place. He goes back to Legion headquarters and convinces all of them that he's the real Mon-El.
That's right.
They don't even question it.
I hadn't remembered how close up he got to them.
Yeah. No, he like breaks up. I think he breaks up with Shadowlass. And she's like, what? I wanted to hook up with you tonight. And he's like, listen, I'm going to die soon.
Right.
Something like that.
In all those times, those off-panel times where Mon-El broke up with her, it was really Eltro. Mon-El would never do that. He was always true to her. Anytime they got into a fight over something, that was Eltro.
Oh, it was the Eltro personality coming to the fore.
Right. Because Mon-El is noble and perfect and would never do that.
Would never break a girl's heart.
He would never look in her phone while she's asleep, make sure she's not talking to Sunboy.
Listen, I don't have time for you. I'm too busy contemplating my own demise. And looking at your phone. Who are you fucking talking to? Like he'd be like, how come Supergirl knows how big my dick is? She's never seen it. What are you telling her?
You mean Triad?
I got the receipts. Yeah, Triad. We'll talk about that later, huh?
What is her name in this? She has some weird alter ego.
Oh, the new name they give her?
Mm-hmm.
I forget. It's not...
Like something Rose.
Linda Danvers?
It is not Linda Danvers.
What's Captain Marvel's name?
Billy
Carol
Batson.
Danvers?
Billy Batson.
No. The girl one.
Monica Rambeau. Monica Rambeau.
Who's Carol Danvers?
Oh, that's Miss Marvel, right?
Okay.
The current, yes.
Not Captain Marvel.
Who? Yeah, Carol Danvers, Linda Danvers. How about that? It's true though, because she looked like Supergirl.
Yeah, I mean she had a little skirt on. She had a mask, right?
Yeah.
Wait, they don't say what her new name is, do they?
I thought they did. Like when
when the girl Legionnaires are pranking her, surely they mention it. They call her Laurel.
I thought I saw it in here.
I don't think they do.
Are you saying I just made this shit up?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe you did see it. Maybe it's in the text page or something. Just flipping through right now, I don't see it.
Tiger Rose, is that it?
Well, she was trying to bring Tiger Roses to her mom before she got blown up. And they do have like some kind of story callback to that. She gets them when Cosmic Boy inducts her into the team.
Oh, right. Back
here on page 13. That would be a good name, Tiger Rose.
Maybe I made that up. Well, anyway, what we get from that point on is sort of a retelling of those two early Supergirl stories. The three superheroes, which is Action Comics 267. And then Adventure Comics 276, Supergirl's three Supergirl friends.
Wait, they weren't both Action Comics?
Well, maybe it was. I'm sorry. Maybe they were both Action. So she's invited to join the Legion, where she meets Brainiac 5. This is the part I hate because they completely change sort of the context of their meeting.
Yeah. Like the Silver Age one, she's like, you look like a fucking evil villain. And in this new one, she's like, you look like that galactic hero, Vril Dox, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like Vril Dox, man. Messes everything up. It changes everything because he's not ashamed of his ancestors. He's proud and boastful of it. Like,
he needs to have that
intergalactic hero.
He needs that humility, doesn't he?
Right.
Yeah, that's how he turned into this awful, arrogant Daffy Duck character instead of the screwball loony Daffy Duck that he ought to be.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think those old Supergirl comics are far superior to the Laurel Gand comic.
They are.
Like if you're a person looking to read a story about a knockoff Supergirl, don't bother. Just read the actual Supergirl Legion comics.
Andromeda's got some good stories later, but not here, I think.
Wait, who does? There's some good Laurel Gand stories. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I said Andromeda, but yeah.
Oh, Andromeda. I didn't catch it. Yeah.
They don't say that name here, but presumably that's the name she's going by. Her superhero name. They just hadn't established what it was yet.
Oh, right. Yeah. They don't give her a superhero name at all, do they?
For a while.
I didn't know they even called her Andromeda before they rebooted the team a couple of years later.
Didn't they call her Andromeda in Legionnaires? I think they did.
Maybe they did, but that would be the young one, right?
Well, yeah, but
like they gave them new code names, a lot of them.
That's true. I guess maybe she went by Laurel Gand.
It'd be kind of a weird name to just go by as your superhero code name as your actual name. Not too many people are doing that.
Right. Well, like Kent Shakespeare, we don't hear forever what his name was on the team.
Yeah. They do eventually say it's Impulse.
Whatever. Impulse. Yeah, so anyway, it's this otherwise this is just like we're going through those early issues again, only not quite as well with her in Supergirl's place.
It's the complete cliff notes of those. Mm-hmm. Like I read the first one of the two and then skimmed through the second one just today.
The second one's I don't know. I think the second one's better.
It probably is, but the first one has more of the pranking stuff. It's more of it mirrors the Superboy meeting with the Legionnaires, where they prank him and say, "Hee, we know you're not you're Clark Kent. You're actually Superboy." They do that to Supergirl,
right?
And then they make her try out, and then they don't let her on the team for a stupid because of a stupid
technicality.
Right. Thank you. She digs through the whole planet Earth, and they're like, "Sorry, you're too old. Look how womanly you are."
I know. It's very Silver Age.
She reveals that she's 15 in that issue, and so when she joins the team a year later, she's 16. Also in Action 267. They're not the original Legionnaires who met Superboy. Right. They're the children. They're the identical children. Like Saturn Girl had a daughter who looks exactly like her, along with Cosmic Boy has a son. Lightning Lad has a son. They are identical doppelgangers.
We don't know that those two are brother and sister, though. Like they might all have separate families. Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl. It's not established at this point that those two get together, so...
Right.
It's not that they happen to have a boy and a girl who look just like.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that.
But it could be. Yeah. I mean, that's like Blondie and Dagwood.
Yep.
Like they're identical younger kids.
Real something weird happening with their
Very
genes.
Strange.
But there's a chameleon boy in that issue who is, I guess, Reap Daggle's identical son. Yeah, like the Alexander to Reap Daggle's Dagwood on the team.
It's weird because if they're the future versions, then those guys belong in a different era.
Yep.
So that it's like their children showed up before they did. So are those really the first appearances? Either the children or they decided to travel back 20 years earlier. The characters beyond the original three who are the children. Anyone else introduced in that issue is either from further ahead past the time of 5 years later when they've all their children have grown up to become teenagers.
Right. Yeah, like issue Action 267 is like the first appearance of Garth and Imra's son or something like that. That's what you're getting at.
Well, no, I'm getting at all the new characters introduced in that. Who was it? Colossal Boy and Chameleon Boy and Invisible Kid.
Yeah.
So they either happen to have parents themselves that we haven't met yet. And if that's the case, we have not really seen them yet. We've only seen their kids.
Oh.
So it's not really their first appearance.
That's true. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. I forgot about those other guys were even in there.
Long way to go for a stupid point.
Easily confused tonight. I
am. The other kind of weird thing here, they tack on this Doyle thing at the end. Doyle reappears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a retelling of a previously told story. I wonder if they just slapped it on here so it would have like some tie to the previous issue, because they were originally conceived as like a two-part retelling of the entire story, and Tom and Mary didn't want to do that.
Oh, you think they were originally conceived that way?
Right. When Giffen first said, I'm taking this issue off or whatever, and they were going to do a fill-in, the editor wanted them to do the origin of the Legion again, only in the Glorith verse.
Right.
And they're like, we don't want to do that. First of all, the origin's been recapped too much, and we don't want to explicitly contradict anything more than we have to. And if we were doing a verbatim retelling, you'd see all the things we're changing. Because they're trying to keep it ambiguous, keep everyone happy, and they're kind of hoping like maybe they'll get permission to use Superboy again sometime later.
Right.
So they were trying to get away from that, and that's why they focused on RJ Brand. But it ended up expanding into a two-parter because I think Giffen still wasn't available to come back. So they ended up telling this story, and I think the Doyle's appearance here is what ties them together. So they can tell the editor, we did the two-parter you asked for.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense to try and tie that up.
It's a little weird because they explicitly use Chameleon Boy, but there's no nod here at all, like a familiarity, because Doyle would know who he is.
That's true. Doyle would. I don't know that he would know who Doyle is.
No, he wouldn't know. Yeah. He would not know, but Doyle would.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd make some sort of comment.
Yeah, in a comic like this, you would think he would do that, right?
That would like throw Chameleon Boy off, like, how do you know my mom's name or something like that?
Right.
Knock him unconscious.
Yeah, that is kind of strange that they didn't try to include something like that because in the Brand issue, in the previous issue, they had this whole scene where they set up that relationship, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if they were explicit in issue 8 that Chameleon Boy was the son of Brand, but we all know that as longtime readers.
Right.
So maybe they were trying not to reveal that for some reason.
Yeah, but then why even bother using Chameleon Boy?
Well, because he's the super sleuth Joe Friday who's going to find everybody.
Oh, right.
Who else would be doing this?
See, I think I would have made Doyle make some comment as he's been taken away in cuffs that plants some seed of doubt about just why did RJ pick Chameleon Boy of all Durlians for his team or something like that. Something cryptic.
Right. I guess he's just too busy running away.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a lot to do in this. It could really be anybody.
I'm kind of guessing maybe that was the idea, or for including him in the first place. The two characters in the same scene, it just got lost somewhere in the shuffle.
On this page where Laurel Gann shows up and catches, I guess it's the previous page, the page before she catches Doyle, mm-hmm. and they shoot at her right here.
Heat nipples.
Yeah, it looks like she has a new superpower of shooting blasts out of her chest. I wondered if this was like some kind of naive Supergirl panel that they had him redraw just as a gag, but I don't think so.
Right.
I think Paris Cullins must have just been like, oh, you want her to get 2 blasts on her chest in the script? And like, okay, mm-hmm. you got it, guys. It looks like she has titty blasters now.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost seems like it had to have been for a dumb gag because they've obviously recycled that idea with the Supergirl and Power Girl hundreds of times. Uh-huh. Reusing the Man of Steel with the bullets bouncing. And they're careful not to make them symmetrical when they do it. Like they're not hitting each nipple, each breast. They're scattered kind of.
Uh-huh.
They don't hit the exact same part of the chest that they hit Superman.
Wait,
intentionally.
What's the Superman drawing?
Well, it's like there's a million of them. There's Superman standing there with his hands at his at his hips as the bullets are bouncing off his chest.
Okay. I thought you were calling out
but they've done
a riff
that
on a specific Superman drawing.
No.
But it's just that
But they've done the same thing with Supergirl and Power Girl.
Right.
They just make sure the bullets don't quite hit her chest. They hit
her collarbone.
Right.
Yeah. Paris is going all the way.
Tits of steel. The mammary glands of steel.
And this next page has a crazy look on Doyle's face. Paris Cullins does some crazy faces. Like, he gets really exaggerated and cartoony and kind of Ditko-y, I noticed. Like, there's some Ditko-looking stuff through this issue. And I don't know if it's Cullins or Bob Lewis.
It's interesting that you say that, because I found like an entire, there's like a comics interview show on PBS that I didn't know about. It doesn't run here. But I was looking up Paris Cullins for the show, and I ran into an interview with him, and I don't know who the other guy was, maybe Paul Kupperberg, whoever wrote Blue Devil. And for some reason, they were interviewing the two of them. Like, so why did you create Blue Devil? And the writer is saying they wanted to make a project for Steve Ditko. So they took all the cliches he uses a lot and lumped them all together into one character. And then he looked at it and he said he wasn't interested after all that. So they gave it to Cullins. But he was designed to be like, this is perfect for Ditko.
Weird.
He's jumping around kind of like Spider-Man. He likes characters with, like the Green Goblin. He's a guy stuck in a suit. And like he's a bunch of Ditko cliches.
That's funny.
Put together. And Cullins was only like 20 when he did that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he's not very old when he drew this issue.
I liked his artwork. I think this is the worst Paris Cullins job I've seen.
Yeah.
You can see like Art Adams type of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Draws cute girls. Yeah. But I don't imagine Ditko is a big influence on him. But there is some stuff in here that look like there's something back here where somebody's getting shot or something. And like the sound of...
If Hunt was inking him right now, it would look great.
Oh, yeah. It would be indistinguishable from the great man himself. I can't find it. There's something where it's like a laser blast, and the sound effect of the laser blast is built into the blast itself in like dotted letters or something. Do you remember that?
In this?
Yeah. Oh, here it is. These two panels. These look like Ditko drawings on page 4.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Both the letter, he did dotted letters like that all the time, and he did figures like that, like those blank figures.
Right, yeah, when they're like brightly lit or something.
Right.
Yeah. And then this face is kind of a Ditko type of face.
You know, some of the inking reminds me of Ditko inking too. Maybe that's like his only reference to Silver Age is like Spider-Man.
Could be.
So he's making it Ditko-ish. I don't know. Another change they've made, I guess, for a more modern audience, like Laurel is more aggressive with Brainiac 5, and he's more the shy guy in this. Of course, probably the funniest panel in the original story is like, he's like, stay in the 30th century. I want you to be my girl, Supergirl. She's like, I got to get out of here.
Right, and that does seem a little out of character for him.
Yeah, but it's so clunky. Like, the way I read it is this guy, he looked in like a how to pick up a girl textbook or something like that, and he's just reciting the lines passionlessly, you know.
Be my girl.
Right.
But aside from that, too, I think it makes sense that she's the aggressive one and he's the meek one or something like that, right?
Well, the other thing is it doesn't really lead to anything in that one because she's like, no, I'm sorry, I got to go back. And then she's got the mermaid boyfriend, too. So.
Wait, she had a mermaid boyfriend?
Yeah, she kind of brags about it in the last panel. She's like, I got this merman dude and this alien guy from the future. 2 boyfriends.
Wow. La-dee-da.
But she can't tell any of her friends.
Right. And she doesn't have any friends. I guess they're all orphans, huh?
Yeah, like her teenage Earth friends.
Yeah. Her life must suck. She has 2 boyfriends. She's a super babe. Everybody desires her. She could do whatever she wants. But Superman tells her she has to stay a secret.
What's she going to do with the fish man? Like, she's going to rub his cochlea? Is that what I always say? The ear thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I don't know what fish have.
An ovipositor.
Is that what it's called?
I forgot what it's not cochlea, it's shit, I can't remember.
Cochlea.
Oh, cloaca.
cloaca.
Or something. I don't know how you say it. Cloaca.
Oh,
Yeah,
fish
Coakley is that curly
thing,
thing
right?
in your ear. I don't know how fish fuck. They lay eggs.
I think they just
like that's what caviar is.
jizz into the water and like a big
No,
smoke.
How do people collect it and let us eat it all at our fancy parties? They must leave it maybe it's inside the girlfish. That's where it is. The caviar is inside the girlfish, and that's the reason boy fishes want them, is because they want to taste that sweet caviar. And so they use their ovipositor or their cloaca and get all up in them guts.
So they don't have like a fin dick or something like that. Some like corkscrew.
They probably do. Like it looks like that guy from the Inhumans. Like whatever that guy's
Triton
looks like. What's his name? Bitchin?
Triton, the green guy, the scales.
Or the dude from Hellboy. That guy, that fish guy.
Oh yeah, Abe Sapien. We need to finish this book.
Oh yeah.
There's not much. Well, we get back to the framing sequence.
We're done with the Paris Cullins shit. Yeah, we're back to Giffen.
Back to Roxas.
There's some pratfalls and gags here when Roxas.
Right after he's finished viewing the video, and apparently it's a complete waste of time. He didn't garner any useful information in it at all. It's almost as if it was just an excuse to do a fill-in issue.
It's almost as if he read the comic that I read.
Yeah, like, what is this shit?
Yeah. Then he sees a headline that says that the Earth Goddess has sicked Master Sleuth Celeste Rockfish on his trail.
Mm-hmm. The Rockfish Files.
And he's like, I thought those were my friends.
Those diskheads.
Diskhead does sound kind of gross, doesn't it? It's a good insult for guys who have a circle on their face.
Yeah, it sounds almost like a real racial slur.
Yeah. And it also sounds like dickhead.
Oh, right. So you got both. But
yeah. This next page is this. I think they did this last issue or the issue before, where the dudes on Yucatan 7 are seeing this weird green space anomaly, and they're just still seeing it.
I just think this whole plot thread is boring. There's way too much of this within the series. Like they flash back to this a couple of times, and maybe it has to do with hindsight a little bit, but especially in a DC comic, you're pretty sure you know what green energy is, and I don't feel like we need to spend this much time cutting to this thing flying through space.
Right, and when it does finally come to fruition in like issue 13 or something, like 4 months from now, it's still never really explained, I don't think, in any satisfactory way. Like they had an idea maybe, but it didn't really happen.
Yeah, like why is it coming to her? You know, I had an idea and I didn't think to like look into it before this started, but it does. This whole thing with the energy coming towards Earth, and I mean it's following her, I guess. It is similar to what happened to that in that Green Lantern 40 issue. The guy who like looked at the hand of the universe, like he somehow got turned into energy in the old comic, and he got sent to Earth, and he like encountered Alan Scott. Maybe that's how Alan Scott got the lantern. But he was like a green energy meteor that hit the planet. But it was similar to this, how they were drawing it and depicting it. I wonder.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I was just looking at the Amazing Heroes issue that spotlights the new Legion series, and they have Giffen quoted saying that Celeste Rockfish might be the most powerful Legionnaire ever, and she doesn't know it. Right. So he had some ideas and some plans. And Celeste is an Al Gordon created character. And so maybe Al Gordon is the dude who's like, let's tie this stuff up with old-fashioned DC superheroes a little more. Like that was maybe part of his thing.
Did she make the transition to is it Wildstar? Is there some variation of her there?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just the other character from Quiet Darkness, whose name I don't know. Okay. But I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. I never really read Wildstar, maybe the first issue.
You look cool.
But yeah, so this green energy or green plasma blob ties into the Celeste Rockford storyline. Rockfish. Oh, I keep messing that up.
How do you keep doing that? Tooth-faced diskheads.
Babooch-faced. Yeah, what even happens on this page? Nothing. Just everybody's going to Winneth.
Mm-hmm.
You say Winneth or Wineth?
I say Winneth.
Oh, really? I think I always said Wineth. But then I read somewhere that somebody was like, it's Winneth. So now I try to say Winneth.
Yeah. I don't think it matters.
Just it flies in the face of the phonics that I learned in second grade or whatever. Somehow.
Oh, I've totally forgotten who this guy is on the bottom left.
This guy's so awesome.
We've talked about him before, right?
This is the Westerner.
That's right. He's only shown up maybe one time in the 80s? Or?
Probably, yeah. He's in Who's Who in the Legion.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember. To be honest, I don't know what comic he was ever in. But he has this crazy, like, Evel Knievel costume.
Right.
But wait, is he the guy? Was he in the Baxter series? Is that who the Westerner is? There's a real patriotic looking fuck in Baxter, all designed by Greg LaRocque, with like stars and yellow eagle kind of motif things.
Right.
And I don't know if it's this guy or if it's still another.
What role did he play in that? Like, was he just on a TV then, or?
No, you know who he was in that? This was a character that it couldn't have been the Westerner. It was Chameleon Boy in his role as the leader of the espionage squad goes undercover, and his disguise is something that looks like that. It looks like some kind of weird, like Captain America, General Glory on steroids kind of thing. So it's still not the Westerner. It's somebody else.
Volume 3, number 24. This is some guy who's in the Legion Academy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of right.
I think he's just there for training. Like, he has no intention of being a Legionnaire.
Yeah, he wants to. He wants to ride motorcycles professionally.
Right.
No, I mean he's like a deep cut kind of goofball that Tom and Mary Bierbaum like. I mean, I can't imagine that Keith Giffen knew who the Westerner was.
Right.
But also,
though he kind of looks like the kind of guy Giffen would end up picking up the book for.
I know.
Like drawing like the last two issues of.
Yeah. Well, this is a great drawing of him. Like you see a guy in this costume, and like that kind of smug kind of smile this guy's doing, like he looks like a jock under there. It's
right.
Like, oh yeah, Keith Giffen, he nailed this guy.
Right.
But it looks like in the context of this page, the Westerner is like a pitch man for something. He's selling you like garlic pills or.
It would have been perfect for Sunboy, but he already appeared once on this page.
Right.
Like, it seems like that would be something he would be doing as well. Selling some shit.
He's real serious on this page, denouncing Roxas and accusations against his job. He's like a real talking head on a news show. He's not going to be selling denture cream.
Right. And then the final page is on Winneth, where I'm not exactly sure why this has happened. Maybe did these guys just have two sets of statues, or did they just start putting the memorials on Winneth instead of what's the place called again? I always say the wrong name.
Oh, Weisinger Square Plaza.
No. Shang.
Oh, yeah. Let me spell this out for you.
It's like Shangri-La and
Shangala. No, these statues, they explain this in issue 1 or 2 or 3 or something. These are the statues that used to stand outside of Legion headquarters in Metropolis. Oh. And Lightning Guy bought them all and put them on his ranch on Winneth.
Okay.
And plus he has this later memorial for the guys who never got a statue. Yeah, Block and Magnetic Kid and Phantom Girl. And this statue is of a mysterious Legionnaire who we don't recognize, or who I don't recognize.
Oh, yeah. It's like Comet Man or something.
Well, yeah, they eventually have Kid Quantum.
Yeah, but his is...
He doesn't look like that. Yeah. No. Yeah, they're just kind of teasing us. I don't know that this ever actually becomes a person. I don't recognize.
I don't think I noticed. I've never noticed before, but in the middle panel, I guess there's some butt cheek there.
Oh, yeah. Mostly people on this ranch are nude.
I hate it. I've always hated it. Maybe it's just because I'm square, but I just know how 90s comic artists like to draw. They're not going to draw it well. It's going to be
what, the nudity?
Yeah.
I think Giffen draws good naked people. I mean, he's never drawn a naked people.
He does okay.
Her back and stuff, that looks pretty decent here.
Yeah, they're not overtly like some of the artists who fill in, all of them have like ridiculously large breasts, even characters it doesn't make sense to have ridiculous large breasts like Kano or Violet. I don't know.
Can't wait to see these issues.
Yeah, I bet you're looking forward to it.
Is it like Jim Ballant drawing those?
Which one's he? Is he the annual guy?
No, Jim Ballant. He drew Catwoman for a long time.
Oh yeah,
he's just like
that purple costume.
Yeah, it's like pinup type of stuff.
So we're done, right?
Yeah, we're done. I mean, there's the text pages. Legion Confidential. Oh, but this last page, we didn't really talk about the last page where it's all Shrinking Violet, her internal monologue.
She's guilt-ridden.
Yeah, she feels guilty, and she's anxious and worried about the confrontation that's going to take place between her and Cosmic Boy, because their worlds were at war against one another. And she's responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Bray aliens.
Yeah. But she's like directly responsible for like crippling him, right?
Oh, is she? I didn't remember.
I think so. I think it's something like that. And I really hated that. Like, that seemed really corny. Like, just that they were in opposing factions shooting at each other seems like that would be enough to feel guilty about. Or that she happened to be part of the troop that ambushed them. But I think they say, like, explicitly, like, he's the one who cut her eye and she's the one who, like, injured him. Or
like, it's that's really dorky.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose.
Like, yeah, I guess I was thinking that maybe... Yeah, like if she's responsible, she's the one who like ordered the bomb to go off or something, and all his whole platoon or whatever lost their powers and were injured. Like, okay, that's getting there, but okay, I could live with that. But if it's like that, where it's like they were actually in hand-to-hand combat somehow,
I think they were.
That's kind of dorky.
I mean, you might be right about the bomb part, because I know it was some kind of bomb.
Yeah,
but they do end up in combat, and I'm pretty sure it's him that cuts her.
But he doesn't know it's her, right?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I do remember it's like some kind of weird like energy knife. Like I remember a drawing of that, right? And that cuts her knife. Yeah. Oh well, can't wait to see how this little drama plays out. I have a feeling that they'll reunite, and Cosmic Boy, he'll say something like,
"You're entitled," or something.
"I don't give a fuck," and she'll be like, "Okay, cool," and that's how it'll be. What did you say? You're entitled to what?
I think he said something like, there's something really corny like that. Like, there's a tear running down his face, and he says, "You're entitled." And she's like, "I feel terrible," or something. It's his way of saying we both feel terrible.
Oh, I thought you meant like you should feel terrible.
Is that next issue?
Well, I'm pretty sure that issue 20 is it's like a flashback to the Vietnam flashback issue. 20.
It's issue 20.
So that's a ways off. But like these, she and Cosmo Boy have to meet way in advance of that. Probably next issue.
Yeah. I think they just don't bring it up. She doesn't say, "I was the one who stabbed you." Or...
Oh, yeah. I bet it's something like, "Cosmo Boy, I have something I have to tell you." And then like some emergency happens and she can't tell him then. Right. And in the next issue, he's like, "Oh, was there something you wanted to say to me before Animal Vegetable Mineral attacked us?" And she's like,
"Right,
it can wait." And then
she starts yelling it out, but there's some engine roaring. He's like, "What? What?"
Right. Yeah, like a loud semi drives by while she says it.
Right.
And then he's like, "What'd you say? Why are you crying?" And she's like, "I don't know."
Exciting times ahead. We're about to crack the double digits.
You know what I was going to say about this comic? Like, if I don't know if I would have stuck with it. Like, I mean, I love these Legion comics. I read all the other ones, but I think if I was buying this month to month, the 1-2 punch of RJ Brand history in issue 8 and this boring Laurel Gann thing in issue 9, I don't know if I'd be around for 10. I might wait, and I'll be like, well, number 12 has a cool cover. Maybe I'll try it back again. Like, I think these might have left me so cold I wouldn't read it anymore.
These, like the Glorith ones, like I bought the first one out of obligation, and then when I saw the second one, I didn't buy it. And it wasn't until I was sure that it was back to Giffen regularly, then to be a completist, I went and got it.
But, yeah, because even like reading this issue and last issue, I'm like, does Keith Giffen still even work on this comic? You know, like, is he just helping them out until Tom and Mary like get their sea legs or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these stink. I'm like, is this a good comic anymore? Because issue 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are good. I'm down. I'm into these.
Right.
6, 7. I don't even remember what 7 was. And then 8 and 9. What the fuck? These are dull. These are not good comic books.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if I ever stopped reading anything because I didn't like the story. It was almost always because of the artwork. Like,
well, you would have got your wish here.
It's always my worst nightmare. Like flipping through my new favorite book and seeing like Walt Simonson isn't on it anymore. It's you know, Mike
it's Paris Cullins inked by Bob Lewis.
Yeah. Like, no. And I don't even expect it to necessarily be amazing art, but you get used to a certain consistency, and then they get some new guy on who looks like he's just shitting it out. Every now and then you get lucky and there's someone really good replacing the other guy. But
yeah, I never remember that happening. Maybe it did happen. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, like these, like if this is a taste of things to come, or like if Giffen isn't working on the series anymore and these are what solo Tom and Mary comics are like, I'm not buying this series anymore, you know?
Right.
Like it's just not that good. And I mean, I read all Legionnaires, but I wasn't that into it either by the end. Like these guys they're decent dialoguers. They can, you know, make the words coming out of Cosmic Boy's mouth sound real good over top of the Giffen plot, but they're not. I
stopped reading Legionnaires after Sprouse. It got really bad. Like the artwork got really, really bad.
There was some pretty bad artwork. Yeah, there's also Adam Hughes. Like that's enough to like keep you coming back for these kind of like a little bit of Adam Hughes in them.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of weird. Like that issue 5 of this series, so good, and supposedly, like even according to the letters page in here, Tom and Mary were responsible for that story entirely, with just Giffen illustrating it.
Which one?
The Mordruverse issue 5.
Okay, yeah.
And like that's a real fun, solid comic, cool developments, unpredictable. But then these next two afterwards, or not the next two, but these 8 and 9, not really feeling it anymore. And maybe they're just in a rush. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of behind the scenes stuff that we don't know about. Like they also, like they think Keith quit. They think they're getting fired. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know.
I think I like this issue more than you do, though I agree. Like, I don't like the flashback, but the Giffen pages are so dense. It almost feels like it's two comics, a good comic and a bad comic. And then between this and then you have a couple pages of the extra content. Like, even if you completely discount the flashback, there's other stuff going on in it. But I mean, it is on idle. They're not really going anywhere.
Yeah, totally. Like the Roxas thing is totally an afterthought, like it's just treading water on the Roxas story.
Yeah.
And I guess that's fine. Like if that was just 2 pages, it's a little bit more than just 2 pages. But then there's the green energy thing, filler, treading water.
Right. Totally.
This last page, I guess it's foreshadowing something that is, or foreshadowing is not quite the right word. It's like a prelude to a story development that, I don't know, like I don't see it being really dramatic. I see them being cool with each other. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and like both this issue, and I think we had a similar criticism of the last one. Like the flashback doesn't really serve any purpose it doesn't advance the plot at all. But that's probably because I'm comparing it to stories that deliberately flash back to tell the story versus these where it's like, dude's sick, we need to throw something in real quick at the last minute. So it isn't necessarily accomplishing anything in the longer story. It's just fill-in.
Yeah. I mean, like Levitz would do these things, and I'm critical of Paul Levitt's comics generally, but like when he did these throwback type of stories, they were a news story, right? Like when he does the flashback where it's Invisible Kid and Chemical King and whatever the hell that stuff was. This one, it's like this kind of it's this pastiche thing of those old Supergirl comics.
Right.
It's not as good as those remotely, and yeah, it's like, well, you couldn't have told us a brand new story, like
Yeah.
come up with something totally original. Like, and I guess I kind of see that they're kind of between a rock and a hard place with this Laurel Gann character. Like the whole reason she exists is so that she can be Supergirl, since they can't have Supergirl. But it's like, I don't know, this flashback origin of her is just so by the numbers and so boring, and like, and because I have access to those old comics and can look at them, it's like, oh, those are much better. I don't know.
But in its defense, at least at the time, and I don't know, like when you encountered this issue, like how familiar you were with who she was by the time you read this, but like I think readers were chomping at the bit to figure out who she is and how she fits in. Like you knew she was Supergirl, but how are they going to do it? Going into it now, already knowing exactly who she is and how she fits in, you just see the story for what it is, and it's not as good because you already have all the details it gives away.
I guess I just wish that it could have been, instead of seeming like a filler thing, it could have been as much a part of the storyline as whatever stuff that Giffen does, like if Giffen had drawn this or whatever, like they could have put 3 times as much information about Laurel Gann into this comic book, and he might have plotted out something more interesting.
And that it doesn't pay off for him at all is just kind of stupid. Like, without him even saying anything one way or the other, like in the next issue, somehow uses something he learned in this story against her in the next issue.
Oh, right. Roxas. Yeah.
Right.
And that's fine. Like, I bet there's a lot of people who never read those old superhero comics. In 1990, I had never read those old superhero comics, didn't know the difference. But I don't know. This is it. Yeah, it just kind of failed in a lot of ways, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, they didn't really need to give us a verbatim. They could have dumped the same amount of information in the back in like a fake article about her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a fill-in. What are you going to do?
Well, but it's 2 fill-ins in a row.
Yeah. I mean, that is a problem, but they're probably kind of stuck too because they're in the middle of a storyline. The guy in charge is gone or not involved, so they probably don't know what to do.
Yeah.
He does have a tendency through the series to drop out at critical moments.
Yeah.
This guy's either like, I'm going to draw 4 books this month or none. Probably just burns himself out doing so much and gets sick for a few weeks.
Yeah, he probably had 3 strokes.
Right. One of his many heart attacks.
Were we finished with what we were talking about? I think I was just bitching about how these were like 2 fill-ins in a row, and I wish it was, or I would quit if I was reading it now.
We talked about the Shrinking Violet Cosmic Boy conflict that she's going to have to face, and that's it, right? What's left?
No,
we can discuss the credits.
Oh, you know what we haven't done yet is the text pages in this comic.
Okay. Cute thing they did here. They referenced old letters.
Then the second one is more serious. It's about it's the Kundia one where they're talking about like there's a lot of allusions to kind of modern day international relations, I guess.
Yeah.
Where they sort of paint the Kund homeworld as something like Russia or China.
Right. Or, it's hard to, I can't tell how much I'm projecting into this shit, but it seems a little bit like the way the world views, or America views, like Muslim people or something. There's a mention of them being backwards and not familiar with technology, and I guess that's how we've described a lot of people that way, like the Native Americans.
Yeah, just
like they're savages. They're
right. Anybody who's not going to get on board with our like a capitalist, colonialist type of point of view where you want to take over everything. Like if somebody doesn't get that, it's like, you're so backwards.
Right.
You're not a Christian. You're so backwards.
I thought it seems a little redundant here. He said sociologists have a difficult time unraveling the mystery of exactly why the social climate there changed so radically. They're talking about like xenophobia, various forms of racism increasing as, like the economy is collapsing. And I think that's the correlation right there. But they add in all these invasions.
Right. There's also alien invasions.
Right.
Making you hate aliens.
And maybe that makes sense within the story, but it's unnecessary in a way. Like, all you have to say is like they're not prospering, and when people aren't doing well, they start looking for people to blame. It's the immigrants doing it.
And I mean, that would have happened. Like they say that. I mean, this text page sort of says that that xenophobia gets directed at the cooned people, I guess specifically, or that's what the cooned people are thinking about. But the cooned people are not part of the United Planets. I bet the actual other members of the United Planets even got it worse from the Earthlings being whatever their trials and travails.
Right.
They're gonna reach out and say that these shape-shifting shitheads on the Durla planet are getting more favoritism from the United Planets government than we are. And why is that? They're all ugly and orange and we're pure and white. How come I'm suffering and those guys are doing great, without realizing that we all know the people on Durla, they're not doing so good either.
Right. There's the ones that are less like people, less like humans, Earth humans.
Yeah.
Those are probably, they get the worst of it, probably in the way like non-Christian countries do.
Yeah, like that guy, remember that guy on the spaceport who looks like he's like a horse? Like that guy's planet.
And we're probably close allies with some of the, like many of the Legionnaires' worlds that are colonies of Earth, and they're more or less humans.
Yeah, they're all white human people.
But not all of them, because is it Shrinking Violet's people are pretty, which ones are they? The Maskians?
Imsk, yeah.
Aren't they kind of warlike, or is that the one?
No, I think Taluk 8, Shadowlasses people are...
they're less human looking.
Oh, yeah, they're blue.
Right.
They're Muslims, too. Like they're kind of othered in issue.
It seems 4. Like a couple of the Earth colony ones might have more of a Russian, like they look like us, but they're not on our side.
Oh, I'm trying to think of who that is. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess there's no right person in war, but I think of them as the bad guys because they're the ones that blew up Cosmic Boy.
Yeah, but maybe
were they invading? Did that happen on Brawl?
Yeah, maybe the Bray-aliens were asking for it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the Bray-aliens attacked Imsk.
Oh, they attacked first.
Yeah, and like maybe there was no provocation. Maybe sure, the Bray-aliens all live in a giant open air prison for the last 3 generations. But this attack came out of nowhere. And so what could they do but retaliate and destroy every single person on that planet? Right. There's no other choice. That could be what happened.
Could be. Metaphor doesn't work quite as well when they're on separate planets.
It's a planet that was parked on top of the other planet.
Right.
Or they're planets in the same star system. Meanwhile, most of the planets are billions of light years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Baral and Imsk, they orbit the same star. It's still not good enough, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like taking their spot in the solar system, like their distance from the sun or something. So it's a good climate.
Right. Yeah, Baral is like super nice in the summer and in the winter.
Except for all the metal monsters.
Yeah.
Some weird shit. They should have explored that more. It's weird metal beasts. We're right. Like, I'm telling you, I'm going to have to look that up later. But I think Shrinking Violet's people are warlike.
Okay.
They got little guy complex,
Yeah, yeah. Of course. Why wouldn't they? Napoleon complex. Right. They're also short.
That's why they drive their starship so fast.
Okay.
Dumb joke. Short people like to drive fast.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that was a stereotype. They smell. That's all I know. So the Kund planet is kind of like Soviet Russia or China or Muslims. It even says they have a big population and they're resource poor, and they resent the United Planets because I guess the United Planets is sucking up the resources of the universe for themselves.
Probably took their resources.
Right. They have their colonies and their capitalism shit. And it made me think of that one of those issues of Superboy and the Legion, like that Paul Levitz wrote, where the Sclarian Raiders they're robbing different places in the United Planets because the United Planets is hoarding the resources of different planets. And it's like it's a thing that's only really alluded to in that one issue that I ever remember.
We covered that one?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's why I remember it.
I'm like, I remember that.
Yeah, weird. But it's like one little black mark on the United Planets that they ever mentioned, is that United Planets kind of takes, and it's like something stupid like technology, like they're hoarding the technology of other places, like as if that's really going to hurt anybody. But it's if you kind of read into it and say, oh, they're taking their resources of water and gold or something like that to the exclusion of some of these other populated places, you would begin to hate United Planets and see it as a pox on civilization.
Well, hoarding technology could actually be pretty shitty. Like, you got a vaccine or life-saving technology, and you're not giving it to other people.
I guess I was thinking of it as shit that's kind of easy to duplicate, maybe like technology, like computer crap or something. But technology as in shit that can keep you from dying. Yeah, you wouldn't really want somebody doing that.
You got to protect those patents.
Yeah. And then in that thing, they also pointed out that this dude, they talk a lot about Zarian, the Conqueror, who's the dude who ultimately killed with a freeze ray lightning lad.
Right. The one that has, as of this issue, been retconned into becoming a Kund, but he wasn't before.
Right. He was just some random space conqueror. Now he's a Kund. And he's like this huge, like in this issue, he's leading the army that Laurel Gand uses her space station to really destroy, or I don't think she eliminates all of them, but a bunch of them. But this guy is in charge of a huge, big space armada or something, just going around trying to take over. The Laurel Gand incident supposedly happened before the Lightning Lad death.
Right.
Somehow, and it's kind of phrased kind of funny in this, where they talk about Zarian going around conquering shit, but he wasn't quite ready for the Legion of Superheroes who had formed on Earth, who defeat him. And then they say only Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl participated in the battle between the Legion and Zarian's army. So like two teenage kids, one of whom was actually perished on the mission, defeated him soundly. I thought it was kind of funny. Weird.
One of them was a girl.
Yeah, girl too.
And this is after he got his ass handed to him by like a 6-year-old girl.
I mean, I guess that would really make this dude hate like blondes.
Right. He's not a kid person.
But I think he dies, right? Doesn't Lightning Lad kill him, or doesn't he get killed in that thing, or does he continue on? I'm drawing a blank now.
He does die. I think he might. I think he died when he came back, like in the 70s.
A little bit later, like they also start talking about this dude Garlack, who I remember him in one of the earlier Levitz and Giffen stories.
Really bad breath.
Yeah,
Garlack.
Short, bad breath. But yeah, this Garlack guy is evidently the kind of the successor, the next big powerful warlord after Zarian, who was killed possibly by Lightning Lad, remains to be seen. But that's all I have to say about that Kundia iPad article. Yeah, it just seems like they've lost their way to me.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a lot to juggle.
It seems kind of rocky at this point to me after 8 and 9, and then knowing that shit that I remember not being good is coming up in issue 15. So I don't know what the future holds here in
right.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Maybe it'll be better than you remembered.
Could be. Could all really hold together. I mean, I remember liking this stuff a lot just as a whole, but right here in the midst of issue 8 and 9, I'm like, I don't know about these.
Well, they'll be fun to trash, if nothing else.
Maybe. It'll be sad to trash these.
Oh.
He's dead, dude.
All the more reason, man. We don't have to worry about pissing him off.
As if.
Show up at our door. Oh, yeah, we skipped over. We didn't talk about Triad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
They were trying that name out.
Yeah, they make a big effort. Like, there was a bunch of spots in this where I saw that the lettering got changed or was by somebody other than Todd Klein in these word balloons. And that was one of them when she's like, oh, and you must be Triad, right? And Triad's like written by a different person in the word balloon. Yeah, and they're toying with the idea of switching her name from Triplicate Girl, quite a mouthful, to Triad. But then in one of these text pages, they still call her Triplicate Girl, is what I noticed. So that Triad shit was, after Deadline or something.
Right.
Yeah, to me, seeing all the different lettering, amateur lettering, not by the credited letterer in these books, well, it kind of adds to the idea that, like, oh, this comic is just going down the toilet or something. You know what I mean? Like when it's like to fill in no name artists, kind of like, I know Paris Cullins, but it's like the regular guy who I signed up for. He's gone for 2 whole issues, and it looks like they're writing the comic book on the fly or something. It just makes me, I'm beginning to lose confidence in this comic book as of issue 9.
I mean, my sense of this stuff, like this kind of comic, these monthly big company comics, is we think of them like we think of like modern TV shows, but they're not like that. There's not a showrunner with a master plan.
Yeah,
who's executing it all. Like, it's a lot of it is like coincidences and happy accidents, and the editorial says you can't use this character anymore, so you have to radically rewrite it. And it's a lot of like improvising as they go. It's not, and when it works well, when that sort of improvising and collaborating works well, it's awesome. But it isn't necessarily, this great story written ahead of time.
Right, but they still want us to believe that that's what they're doing and that's what they have,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like a magic trick.
Yeah, but when it looks
we know the secrets.
When it looks so slick, the way it did in the first handful of issues, where everybody's kind of all firing on all cylinders, and then it starts to change and like we're like, oh, this inker isn't quite appropriate for the penciler, and the word balloons, half of them look like they were written by a third grader, and half of them look like they're written by a professional comic book letterer. It's like, right. They're really pulling the curtain back,
Yeah. Maybe we just know too much.
I guess so.
We're just too good an experts. We see the cracks. We see the shadow of the lighting guy or the cameraman background.
Right. Yeah, I mean, maybe, today as an expert, I can actually articulate why it seems like it's falling off the rails. Whereas as a kid, when I read this, I might have just been like, this comic fucking sucks now for 2 months in a row. And I couldn't really articulate it.
Right.
I mean, even, today I would still be like, this fucking sucks. What a dumb piece of shit. I would still say it that way, but I can also use some $10 words to explain why.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I'm more superficial. I feel like if they got Kurt Swan back, or someone who could draw somewhat like him to do the middle, or Sprouse, or Adam Hughes, or someone I liked, I probably would like this issue just fine. And I do like this issue, but I feel like, to me, the art in the middle story really drags it down.
It totally should have had Adam Hughes draw this. What if Adam Hughes drew that panel where she's shooting lasers out of her tits?
You think someone's had him redraw that?
Maybe I will. You got anything else?
No.
Then let's bounce.
No, I don't.
Legion of Superheroes #9. Thanks for sticking around. It took us 4 weeks to talk about this comic book.
Yeah, 4.
LLL.
Bye-bye. Wait.